Hi, welcome back. Welcome back to the Pots and Murders Bible. I'm Zion, your host, and this is the introduction to the Pots and Murders Bible slash Book of Zion. Those of you who saw my first video, welcome back. Those who haven't seen it, you might want to go back and start at the beginning. Anyway, before I start reading this, I want you to know that this is a rough draft. This is the only copy I have, and I just finished it last week. But I wanted to go ahead and get this out there because 420, I'm hoping to make 420 our very own New Year's Day. Our day that we chose for ourselves to begin our new life. And that's why I'm going to present you with a very rough draft of the book that I wrote. So, let's begin. This book was almost 3,000 years in the making. It began around 720 BC, near the rivers of Babylon, where Isaiah, the prophet, was an Assyrian captive. In the 6th chapter of the book that bears his name, God asks for a volunteer to go and speak for them to a nation, to a future generation. Isaiah answered, "Here I am, send me." It is his ancient message that is the basis of this book, a message sent almost 3,000 years into the future. Now, although many learned theologians have spent their respective lifetimes trying to understand his message, none have so far been able to, and with good reason. The prophecy was sealed. Isaiah was instructed to write it so that many would hear but understand not, see but perceive not, so that none can understand it no matter how hard they tried until the end of time. At the end of our age, God said, the prophecy would speak plainly. Its meaning would then become clear. And as you will see, that time is now. And that message can easily be understood, especially by those who are living it, because it was written in their own language, a language that they themselves created, a language that didn't exist until now. Now, that language used in the prophecy is a viable spoken language. The text we once found unintelligible becomes clear and self-evident. The scattered pieces of the prophecy begin to become eerily familiar, especially to those who speak the language. The 26th chapter of Isaiah instructs us to piece together the prophecy. We are to take the scattered lines and precepts and rearrange them into their proper order, so that we can piece together the events outlined in the text. By using chapter 28 as our guide, we can piece together the jigsaw puzzle left to us by Isaiah. What emerges is a complete reversal of morality and the current fortunes of the peoples involved. Chapter 29 of Isaiah literally turns everything upside down. What society calls good and just, God calls cruel and unjust. What the good guys become the bad guys. The people society scorns become the righteous. It is a complete transformation of current morality and social standings. But, as Isaiah forewarns us, the very people who can read the language spoken are the ones that have rejected it out of hand. They don't even bother to look. Just as Isaiah said, they follow their own imaginations, unaware of their true identity. Even though they can easily read Isaiah's message, they have chosen not to. They are a people scattered and torn, a diverse people, hidden within the world's population. They are unique, unrecognized, unprotected, subject to all manner of abuse, oppressed, unable to defend themselves. They meekly submit to the cruel treatment of those in authority over them. The big irony of Isaiah is the authority that is over them, the people of God's wrath, are the people who falsely proclaim themselves to be his chosen people. They, in their ignorance and pride, have unwittingly put into motion the events of the prophecy. It is their false morality that has ironically allowed them to become the wicked oppressors who are the true enemy of God. They have chosen for themselves a false idol that cannot save them, and it's in its name that they have created a society that has set in motion a global destruction that cannot be avoided. They have, in fact, destroyed themselves with their false god. Now, the salvation foretold in Isaiah isn't a fantastic godly act by a superhuman savior. It's a very human act, in fact. Nothing that Isaiah predicts is fantastic. All the events foretold are ordinary events carried out by ordinary people. There are no superhuman saviors in the prophecy, so to speak. The true savior of the chosen people of God is in fact a female. Although Isaiah informs us of the male Messiah, the groom who returns with mercy to his childhood bride, it is his bride Zion who champions the cause of her people. She is the Savior of humanity and the Redeemer of Israel. In fact, most of the prophecy is about her and the things that she does. She is the one who travails. She cries like a woman in labor. She gives birth to a nation and its king. But she does all of this by ordinary means, by doing the things foretold by Isaiah. The entire prophecy is a detailed plan of action, instructions from God to Zion. She is given a list of things that she makes happen in order to fulfill the prophecy. It is by following God's plan that Zion succeeds in her great endeavor to save humanity. The woman who becomes Zion is a very specific person. Isaiah gives us many details about her life. For instance, she's barren, she sings, she suffers from PTSD, she loves a man who rejects her in her youth, she mourns his loss as if she were a widow. She is renamed by God, just as Abram and Jacob. She isn't born Zion. She becomes Zion by the will of God. The final element of the prophecy is God. And just like the rest of the players, God is not who it seems. The events foretold set the stage for God's return to earth. The text depicts first contact, an alien intervention on behalf of Zion for her nation. God, as we know them, are great. When Zion makes first contact with the gray, our society will change instantly. The people of Zion will become the only means for humanity to interact with the aliens. That is, and has always been, their purpose. Their sudden importance transforms society forever. The people of Zion, together with their intergalactic friends, will then begin to prepare for a catastrophe to come. Climate change is far worse than we understand. Our God has foreseen what will come of our CO2 and methane overload. And they are here to help us help ourselves. They will help us to build shelters for the worst of what's to come. Because of the coming efforts of the people of Zion and their alien friends, humanity and life on earth will survive what we ourselves have set in motion with our pollution. When the dust settles, the people of Zion will emerge from their shelters as sole survivors. Everything we see around us will be gone. All that we have created will be turned to dust, literally. The end of the age of man will come, and a delightful future awaits those who can imagine a world reborn. Isaiah's voice speaks clearly to those of us who understand its cryptic and timely language. The events he foresaw and depicted are all around us. Many events have already occurred, like 9/11, when the towers fell, the trial and imprisonment of Zion, and all the injustices carried out by the oppressors can be seen on TV. Isaiah saw clearly our day, and anyone who is living it knows the language he speaks. What follows is a modern interpretation of the prophecy of Israel in the words of the prophets themselves, the Book of Zion, and my own commentary to it, the Pot Smoker's Bible. The text of the prophecy comes from the Christian King James Version of the Bible, my family's translation of the ancient Hebrew text. I am the Zion of the Most High God of Israel, and this is my story.